Okay, guys, thanks so much for showing up tonight. We know that it's the first day of summer. We're all excited about that. We have an amazing Zoom training that's going to be done tonight, and our special guest is Mike Keenan. I'm so honored to know Mike. If it wasn't for ID Life, I don't think I ever would have met this man. He has over 30 years in the fitness industry. He is an expert in health and nutrition, and he's an amazing rock star, part of Team Dowd. Everything that Mike has shared in the past and what you're about to listen to tonight, take some notes. This guy has some incredible information to share with all of us, and I want to thank you, Mike, for offering to do this for us. All the credit goes to Mike tonight. He created the slides that you're about to see. So without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to you, Mike. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Gina. I'm really pretty excited about the topic I'm going to be speaking about tonight because for years we were fighting the issues with sleep, lack of energy, having trouble losing weight, and just not finding all the right tools that I needed. And when I got involved in ID Life, it allowed me to do that. And in the process of doing that, it's also allowed me, quite frankly, to gain a lot of customers. And a lot of my customers became associates. So it was a win-win situation for me because, you know, I have people that are finally getting products that they need, they can afford, and they desire. And it helped me build a profitable business to be able to do things like go to Punta Cana and, you know, experience some other things, and also meeting a great group as being part of Team Dowd. What I would really like to do real quick is I'd like to go ahead and start sharing my screen, Gina. And that way we can get to the slides. And I'll try to keep this less than a half hour because being half Italian, I like to talk way too much. So picking on my own heritage here. All right, let's see now. Okay, good. Does everybody see my slides?
You're good, Mike.
All right. Okay, great. So my topic tonight is gathering customers and gaining associates through good science, sleep, energy, and weight loss. I'm just going to minimize a little bit of my screen here. So I'm the, good, now I got a tiny screen in the corner. And let's hope my slides advance, because that would be really great if they did. Here we go. Okay, so this is a famous quote from Dr. Mark Hyman, and he said, "What you find at the end of your fork is more powerful than anything you'll find at the bottom of a pill bottle." And what he was referring more to had to do with pharmaceuticals. You know, around here, when we start talking about pharmaceuticals, we talk about a temporary fix, not a permanent solution. And remember, what we have is we do have a solution. Remember, we have things that people want, need, and can afford, and eating healthy is a whole lot cheaper than financing a doctor's lifestyle. So what are we going to talk tonight? We're going to talk about how to get better sleep. We're going to talk about how to increase energy. We're going to talk about weight loss, and we're going to talk about gathering customers and developing associates and helping them to accomplish these things as well. So sample, sample, sample. Quick example of today was I'd given out a sample pack of the protein shake, the sleep, the energy, the hydrate. I think our cost on that is like a little around $10 or so. And from that, I got an order for a canister of chocolate protein powder, the whey protein powder, and energy, and a 28-day supply of sleep. So that was a pretty good sampling right there, and I've done that a lot. You know, when the company, when you get a new preferred customer or even a retail customer, I think you get a sample kit from the company. So take that, turn it around, give it to someone else. You know, and again, you never know where that's going to lead you. You know, it could take you from someone who buys a few products every month to an associate that goes national presidential director. So I mean, you got to start somewhere. So sample, sample, sample. So insufficient sleep causes low energy and inability to lose stored body fat. And that's very, very true. As I was talking to Gina before we started tonight, it all starts with sleep. If you don't have your sleep right, you're not going to have energy, and you're really not going to be able to lose weight. Now, most of my clients that come to me, they have a lot of stress issues. In my hierarchy of sleep, hydration, nutrition, the fourth thing I look at is stress management. And stress is both a cause of inflammation, and it's also a product, I mean, not inflammation, of insomnia, and also it's a byproduct of insomnia. So we can talk about things like mental stress, emotional, physical, environmental. Physical, environmental could also be, you know, the clothes that you're wearing, the skincare that you're using. If you're not using ID Life skincare, right, you're putting some products on your face or some makeup on that could be changing your hormones, and that could be a real problem. Financial, we certainly have an answer for that, right? And relational, getting involved with people in our organization helps to build our relations. Let's talk a little bit about two systems of the body real quick. We have a sympathetic and parasympathetic system. Very, very simply, the sympathetic is your fight or flight response, and these are the things that get your adrenaline flowing, okay? And then we have a parasympathetic, which allows you for relaxation and recovery. And our sleep helps with the parasympathetic end. I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through. Now, this is a very good graphic of the difference of what happens to you with short-term aggressive stress, like sprinting, versus long-term chronic stress, which would be marathon running. I have a lot of people who come to me, and if I told them how to start running, they'd never come back. So we want short-term stresses that give us the proper hormonal response. We don't want to keep beating ourselves up. So that's not just physical, that's also emotional and mental stress. If we deal with stresses for a long period of time, it tends to really wear us down. So let's talk a little bit about chronic stress. And the reason I'm talking about this so much is I want you to appreciate how well our sleep product works, and why, if we're not talking to people about this every day who have trouble sleeping, we're really doing them a tremendous disservice. So chronic stress increases a hormone called cortisol. And let's talk a little bit about cortisol, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, cortisol actually has some very good things. We need cortisol. God put it there for a reason. I'm going to explain why it's there. Cortisol plus human growth hormone increases your fat burning capacity. It means you're prospering, okay? Where do you secrete a lot of human growth hormone? When you're getting good quality sleep. Cortisol is also needed for another process called gluconeogenesis. Just break that word down very easy. Gluco is sugar, neo is new, and genesis is creation. So it's creation of new sugar. Your brain and your nervous system requires sugar on a second-by-second basis, just like oxygen. So as you're sleeping, your blood sugar will start to drop a little bit, okay? And your body will release cortisol to start breaking some protein down in the liver, but it's usually not that big a deal if you have a good, healthy diet. You have a lot of nutrients in your diet. Usually you just get a little bit of cortisol just to keep that process going. And again, if you're sleeping real well and you're releasing human growth hormone, you're actually burning fat while you sleep. And also cortisol is important, like if you're driving home late from a function at nighttime, you don't want to fall asleep behind the wheel. So cortisol is actually good to help keep you awake. However, cortisol could become a real problem. Okay, number one is if you're trying to fall asleep, cortisol keeps you awake when you want to sleep. Cortisol also suppresses melatonin production and secretion. So when I talk to people and they say, well, you know, I'm taking a product, it has melatonin in it, I'm like, you could take all the melatonin in the world, but if your cortisol levels are so high, it's going to suppress the effect of the melatonin. Our sleep product, which I'm going to get into in a second, fixes that problem. Now, when most people can't sleep, at least most of my clients or most of the people I know, what do? They get up and they eat. They get up and they'll have some cake or some cookies, or they'll drink some milk or something, and that drives their blood sugar up, okay, because sugary snacks increase insulin production. So insulin plus cortisol equals fat storage. So the question came up is we were, you know, part of this conversation is we're helping people to lose weight. But if you're feeding the problem with increasing your insulin and having high cortisol levels, you're going to go into fat storage, and it's going to be impossible for you to lose weight. So when people say to me, why is sleep such an important thing with my weight loss? It's critical that you sleep so that you can lose weight. Because if you're not sleeping, you're going to have a horrible hormonal response, and you're going to go into fat storage. Now, the other thing you have to know is this: sleep is not measured in calories, and stress isn't measured in calories. So is sleep and stress a calorie thing, or is it a hormonal thing? Well, I think by now you're starting to realize that if your hormones are not in balance, you're not going to sleep properly, you're not going to have any energy, and it's going to be impossible for you to lose weight. So in the hierarchy of needing to have more energy and losing weight, let's begin with getting more sleep. And we have a great solution. I tell people all the time, you're not swallowing this product, you're putting it under your tongue. Why is that so important? You have capillary beds under your tongue, and the L-theanine and the 5-HTP and the melatonin in our sleep strips gets directly absorbed into your bloodstream. If you put something in your mouth and you swallow it, it's got to go down into your stomach, into your small intestines. It has to get absorbed through the small intestines. It gets shunted to the liver, and then the liver kicks it back out again. That whole process can take way more than an hour, okay? But I want to go to sleep now. I don't want to go to sleep in an hour. I want to go to sleep now. Our sleep strips work within 10 to 15 minutes, okay? It also helps to increase rapid eye movement sleep, which is really, really critical for neurological repair in the brain. Now, I'll just talk about this real quick. When you're sleeping, the actual pathways that cerebral spinal fluid flows through your brain, those canals actually get wider. And what you're doing is you're back flushing your brain, like you back flush a pool to filter it out. Your brain's very metabolic, burns a lot of sugar, and there's a lot of waste products with that burning of the sugar. So when you're sleeping, you actually can backwash your brain. That's why it's important to go into rapid eye movement sleep. And then you wake up in the morning, unlike Lunesta and some of the other pharmaceuticals, you don't wake up feeling real druggy. You wake up and you feel refreshed because you had a great night's sleep. And it's really, really important. Okay, so our preparation has something called 5-HTP and L-theanine. They're natural, and they're precursors to something called serotonin. And serotonin is your happy hormone. So it lowers your stress levels. It allows you to fall asleep because now your cortisol levels are going up. Our product gives you a little melatonin kick, and now your body will naturally produce more melatonin. So you'll be able to fall asleep and stay asleep. And here's my happy picture. This is from down in Grapevine. We were down there for ID Revolution. Okay, the other thing you need to know is you have a gland behind your eyes called the pineal gland. It is very photosensitive. So if you fall asleep with the TV on or lights on in your room, not a dark room, that pineal gland gets stimulated. It increases your cortisol level, and you can't fall asleep and stay asleep. So it's important you're in a dark room when you sleep. Okay, so one of the things we talk about when people do when they get up in the middle of the night, they start to look for any kind of sugary, salty, or fatty food. These things light up your brain like a Christmas tree. If you put fat, salt, sugar on anything, you can get just about anybody to eat just about anything. So we want to avoid those kind of foods because what are these foods going to do? They're going to increase fat storage instead of fat burning. Same thing with liquid carbohydrates. It's not just foods. It's soda and juices. And a lot of these sports drinks and energy drinks, they're very, very high in sugar. And it causes a exaggerated insulin response. Insulin plus cortisol equals fat storing. So one of the things we do with our clients is we have them take 4 lean tablets before they go to bed, along with their sleep. Okay, what does the lean do? The lean is made of something called branched-chain amino acids, which is a simple protein. And I said earlier, the body goes through a process called gluconeogenesis, where it breaks sugar down in the liver breaks protein down in the liver to convert it to glucose to feed your brain and nervous system. Well, instead of breaking down valuable body proteins, the lean will break down very, very quickly, supply sugar to the brain, so that you don't get that exaggerated insulin response, nor do you get an significant increase in cortisol. So it'll help you fall asleep and stay asleep. Okay? And the last but not least is you need a lot of minerals for proper sugar metabolism. And one of the minerals that's in hydrate that's very, very effective is magnesium. I'll go into a list. I have a short list of other things that are really important for glucose metabolism. That's zinc, magnesium, copper, chromium, manganese, and selenium. And these are all found where? In your ID Life nutrition. Okay, so if you're having trouble sleeping, okay, actually I have to give kudos to Dr. Quintera. I heard him speak about this once on a call, probably about 6 or 8 months ago. And I went back and did all the research. I'm like, okay, he mentioned it, but why does this work? And hopefully I just explained to you in the last few minutes how this works so well. So getting a combination of ID nutrition, which we should be taking every day. You're having trouble sleeping, the sleep strips, the 4 lean before you go to bed, and a glass of hydrate. And everyone says to me, but if I drink all that hydrate, I'm going to have to get up and go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. You know what? You will. But guess what? You'll be able to fall back to sleep. And you know what? Being properly hydrated makes all the body systems work a whole lot better. Now, in the morning, you say, well, I'm looking for energy. This is something that I sample a lot, quite frankly, because I'm in a situation where people are looking to get increased energy. The energy shots go off real well. And the reason they do so well is the energy shot is loaded with B vitamins, and it gives you mental clarity. No sense being all pumped up if you can't think straight. So I keep the energy shots in my office, and I also have a container of the orange and the mixed berry in the tubes that you rip open and you pour into your water and shake it up. And I sample all of that all the time. I give people an energy shot. I give them the energy. I give them hydrate. Anything that I can sample out. Protein shakes. I buy a box of vanilla. I always have a box of vanilla, a box of chocolate. Sometimes my clients come and they haven't eaten in a few hours and their blood sugar is low. I'll give them a shake. I'll say, hey, drink some of this. Or if I have someone who is really, really into their health and really, really wants to make a difference, I'll open up a container of the pre and the post. A little something here. I don't have a picture of it. But you have to understand why the post-recovery drink is so good. It has 3 key ingredients in it. It has the branched-chain amino acids, which is going to get your blood sugar up so you're going to feel better. It has the creatine in it. Creatine helps to pack more water and more sugar into the cell. So it helps with recovery. And it also has something called chelates in it, which exaggerates the effect of the creatine. So if you give someone this to drink after a workout, the soreness is not going to be as severe. They're going to come back and they're going to want to work out again a whole lot sooner. And I tell you, people really like it. And it's so simple to sample because ID Life has given us so many things in single serving containers. It's really, really easy to sample. So I just keep all these bags open, the pre and the post, the energy, the hydrate, the shots, the shakes. They're all on my back table. So obviously, you can't give out samples of the lean because it comes in a bottle, but I've given people, say, here, take 4 of these. No, I got to go to sleep. Hey, there's no stimulant in the lean. It's just branched-chain amino acids. It'll break down. It'll help you fall asleep and stay asleep, and it works. Okay, real quick. Why do we want to encourage people to do strength training? Strength training is so very important in the weight loss end of it and the energy end of it because it increases the number, the size, and the function of our engines inside our cell called the mitochondria. And that's really, really important to know. Also, when you work out aggressively, you release a lot of your healing compounds, which will help to lower inflammation. It'll help you have more energy. And again, the better your systems are working, the easier it is to relax. Okay, it's really, really important. Now, let me skip through this a little bit. This is a little bit overkill. Just know that chronic stress breaks you down and acute bouts of stress build you up. Okay? Now, the last thing I'm going to do tonight at 9 o'clock is I'm going to go out and take a walk. I'm going to put my headphones on. I'm going to listen to the 9 o'clock ID Life call. And walking is very restorative. It really helps get your hormones back in balance. And you can walk and then go home and go to sleep. You can't exercise, go home and go to sleep. because your stress hormones will be too high. But the walking actually gets all the good hormones that help to bring you down and relax you a little bit. It's very cathartic. Okay, restorative exercise, massage, and of course, sleep is very restorative. So again, I think I talked a little bit about how I sampled just a few minutes ago and how I buy the 30 pack of the hydrate, the 10 packs of the energy, and I have 12 energy shots, and I buy the bags of the pre and the post, and I have the boxes of the shakes. Guys, this has never backfired on me, ever. Oh, and the sleep strips, of course. How could I forget that? You get 5 pouches in a bag. So there's 10 sleep strips, and there's 2 per pouch. Again, giving those out. I give those. The sleep strips have never backfired on me. I've always got a customer when I give out sleep strips. Maybe not the energy shot, but the sleep strips definitely. And the hydrate, I give them the hydrate and the sleep strips. They go home, try this. And, again, don't be afraid to give them 2 or 3 days worth, because sometimes if someone's been on Lunesta or someone's been on Ambien, boy, that's powerful stuff. And sometimes your sleep strips aren't going to work that night, but if they take it a couple nights in a row, they may start to feel like they can fall asleep, stay asleep. And the most important thing is they're not going to wake up groggy in the morning. And I think maybe that's something they may realize as well. I'm going to get out of my slides because that's all I have. If anybody has any questions on anything I talked about, I'd love to be able to answer them, or either that or I'll throw it back to Jim. So I'm going to get off, stop sharing, Gina, and give it back to you.
That was incredible, Mike. Thank you so much for everything that you've given tonight. You've just like exploded my brain. I love it. And I know Jimmy's here, so I'm actually going to kick this over to Jimmy because I know he wanted to say a few things and has some exciting stuff going on, and then we're all going to prepare for this 9 o'clock call. But Mike, again, thank you so much for giving your time. I know how busy this time is for you and with work and your family and stuff like that. So we really do appreciate you.
My pleasure. And my invitation is extended out through Team Dowd. Always feel free to contact me if you have any questions or concerns on sampling the products that I spoke about or how I use them, because that's what I do all day long.
Awesome.
Thanks, Gina.
Thank you. So now I'd like to hear from our fearless leader, rock star extraordinaire, Jim Dowd, National Presidential Director, one that goes above and beyond for every single one of us, every week, every day, anytime we need him. Jim Dowd.
Nice. Thanks, Gina. And again, great job, Mike Keenan, Senior Director. That was unbelievable. As you can see, Mike has built up a nice little client base of customers, and a majority of them roll over into associates eventually. So, again, sampling is the way to go, guys. Starting with the magazines and then, the sleep strips, the energy, the pre and post, to hydrate. I mean, it's amazing what if you don't sample, you'll never grow your business. Couple important announcements, guys. Remember, a week from tomorrow, we have ID Life COO Mark Bennett in town. Restaurant 709. It's a live business presentation with training right after. So start rounding up your prospects and your team members. We got to pack the house for Mark Bennett. And I'm excited, guys. Right now, the next 32 minutes. We have 32 minutes till, Steve Carter is doing the leadership call tonight on how to build a huge team. As soon as I get off this call, guys, as soon as I get off this Zoom training, guys, all I'm doing is trying to round up as many of my team members to get on that call. So, again, thank you, Gina, for setting this up. Great job, guys. And we'll see you on the call at 9 o'clock.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Jimmy. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.